Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter. Keeping an Eye on It podcast from Local Women Magazine is brought to you by Cathedral Eye Clinic, Northern Ireland's leading eye specialist.
Hello and Happy New Year to you all, and welcome to the Local Woman Keeping an Eye on It podcast. This is a podcast where the girls are in charge. Today I have my great friend with me, Denise Watson.
Hi,
She
Kim.
is the lady who wakes us up every morning while we're still snoozing. She's one part of the U105 breakfast show. Denise,
Yes.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get up at that time.
You just have to get into the routine and go, this is my job.
Routine.
So, yes,
Routine.
It is a routine and there's no easy way to do it. And it's harder to do it in the winter, but it is a privilege to do it and to work with Morris because he's good fun.
And she's also a Local Woman columnist, so check
Yes.
her out. Over here we have the gorgeous Jane Hardy. Now, Jane is not just a journalist, she's a wordsmith. She has interviewed everyone, including Margaret Thatcher.
A long time ago, it has to be said.
Well, yeah. So you could say you've interviewed the good, the great, and maybe the not so great
and
at
maybe
times.
the politically ugly, yes.
But more of that later. And next to me here, I have the gorgeous Joyce Shaw. Now, Joyce is the Chief Operations Manager at Cathedral Eye Clinic. That's a very grand title. I love
sounds
that.
very grand,
I love
yeah.
that. You work at this clinic that specialises in laser eye surgery. I must come in and make an appointment because I can see nothing, absolutely nothing. Once I hit 50, I've gone blind. So, yes, that's going to be in my diary for 2025. And you were also the inspirational businesswoman at the Local Woman Business Awards.
Congratulations.
I love that for you, Joyce. So these are the three ladies who are going to hopefully cheer us all up as we enter into the dreariest month of the year. Mm-hmm. But you know what, girls? New year and a whole new me. But no. Actually, I'm going to stop right there because I'm actually, you know what? I'm not even going to pretend anymore. I'm not even pretending anymore. The only thing dry about my January will be the white wine that I crack open on Friday evening. Oh. My timeline is full of people, I'm sure on social media it's the same, of people telling me what to do. I've had enough. I'm fine the way I am. Jane.
I couldn't agree more. I think that New Year's resolutions are a load of old hooey, actually.
Love it.
As Oscar Wilde said, I can resist everything except temptation. And how long will it be before that chocolate with hazelnut beckons, the evening Chardonnay, maybe not so dry as Kim's drink, but still and all, very toothsome, come into your life? I think it's a question of balance, yes, but I know people who do dry January. Are they miserable? Yes, they're miserable as sin. Is their temper short? Yes, it is. Are the days long? Yes, they are, and getting longer and drier. They run, they skip about, they tell you how healthy they are. Do I want to know? No, I don't. I think that we all have this pressure on us to be something maybe we're not, to be somehow perfect. But who is perfect? And you know, I know we'll probably be coming on to this later, but I think it's partly a question of social media, actually. Whenever you go onto Facebook, somebody's telling you how wonderful their croissant is. It's never just an ordinary day-to-day croissant, is it? It has to be the best croissant ever, or how wonderful their walk is along the road. And you think, well, really, you're not telling me about your private life, which I know may be a bit dodgy. You're not telling me about the fact you're struggling with dry January. No, you're not telling me any of that. So I entirely agree with you. I think New Year, New Me is a bit of a trap, actually, that's laid for us. And I think we do very well to avoid it. Balance in all things, yes, I entirely agree with that. And we may come on to this, but it turns out that apparently in America, they're putting health warnings now onto wine bottles because of the cancer risk. Now, I don't want to know about that, certainly not at the moment.
I'm quite happy to bury my head in the sand. Obviously,
yes,
moderate drinking.
Moderate
and,
in all
moderate
things, of
drinking,
course.
Balance. Yeah. So, Denise, you're a lady who is in the public eye. You go to the gym, you're healthy, but you have to host awards and look glam. Do you feel the pressure?
I feel the pressure all the time, yeah, particularly now I've turned 50 and I didn't
No way are you 50?
I'm 53 actually, I'm lying and taking a few years off there. No, I'm a person that likes routine and structure. So to me, setting a challenge is important, but I agree with Jane totally, you shouldn't be forced into doing it.
No.
But one of the things that I did last year for the first time was a reading challenge to read 50 books in a year.
Perfect.
And there's an app called Goodreads. I would like local women listeners to know about this. And it's a little app, and you have a bookshelf, and you can share books with other people, and you get this wonderful reward when you read the book, and then your little shelf ticks
We
along.
should all do that. Could we set up a Goodreads for local women?
We could do
Yes.
that,
That would
yeah.
be good.
And then we
That's
could
a
all,
brilliant idea.
as a
Yeah.
whole magazine, we could all share. Right,
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to do that.
book
So I set myself last year a challenge of 40, and then I exceeded it. So I've set it to 50 this year. But obviously, that gave me this week sort of ding, I've read a book. But it also took me off social media more,
Yes.
which was better.
Yes.
And then I decided to do the stairs every day and work instead of, because I knew I was going to New York at the end of
7
last
flights.
year.
Yes.
I know. Now, not every day. Some days I'm like, I can't do this.
That's a good
but
idea,
I did,
actually. I might start that.
Even if
Yes.
I'm doing it
Right.
sort of, 4 out of the 5 times a week, that's a good challenge. I did dry January. I'm currently doing dry January. I know.
Well done.
I just
Well
wanted
done.
to reset. It's not that I just want to completely deny myself, because I do love it, nice Cabernet Sauvignon. But I just thought to myself, no, I did it last year to reset.
Yes.
And it helped me reset, and you do feel better
Yeah.
for
Oh,
doing
you do
it. But
feel better, for
Yes,
don't-
of course.
For a while.
Honestly,
Yes.
you do. There are times that you're standing in the kitchen going, oh, I've got a steak and I really want that wine with it. But so I like to set the challenges and see how far I go. But I don't beat myself up. I can't do it.
I have a question for Denise. Which was the best book that you read last year, would you say? What was your top
Oh,
read?
Leanne Moriarty's
Right? No,
book.
I haven't.
And I've
haven't read
just,
that.
the title's just gone out of my head, but it's the one about the psychic. I wrote it in my column, so I
Oh,
did.
right.
It's the one about the psychic goes down the plane, telling everybody when they're going to die and how they're going to die.
Fascinating.
And it's to do with basically, what people think about, are they living their lives right? And if you were told tomorrow that you were going to die in a year's time, would you change your life? So,
And would you give up the Chardonnay? You see, then that ties in.
about now,
Yes.
actually. Now, Joyce, you were a nurse, so you actually know. Is it good to give things up?
Well, I sit on the fence with that, to be honest,
Good.
Kim. Right?
I like
because
that.
I think everybody needs like a little of something in moderation. Now, saying that, if you come to smoking, well, yes, you should
No,
give that up. That's
no smoking.
That's a no-brainer. Alcohol. Well, at the end of the day, a little doesn't do you any harm. And as for the cancer warnings on the bottle, I wouldn't want to see them either.
No.
But again, it's good to stick to your limits. So I do accept that. So I would sit on the fence about that. And then you were talking, Denise, about, challenges for the new year and to make yourself more healthy. Yeah, that's good. But like these people who go cold water swimming, for example, I don't understand.
Yes.
And then they tell you about it.
I know.
Endlessly.
It's endlessly tell you about it.
I know. That's exactly what I find. There's people that do that.
I don't mind if you do cold water swimming. I don't want to know.
But not everybody can do it. If you have high
Mind
blood
you,
pressure, you can't do it.
I think it's good for you.
Having said that, I used to swim from April till October when we lived by the sea in Kent in a place called Whitstable.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely fabulous. Mind you, you couldn't do that now because of the problems of outflow and so on.
Yes.
So,
I know the pollution, sewage,
yes, exactly.
swimming
the
around in raw
yes.
sewage.
Whitstable against sewage, yes, exactly.
It is funny, this sort of cult of cold water swimming. Like, I grew up in Port Rush. We called it swimming.
Just because
we called it swimming. It wasn't called cold
the
water
Atlantic
swimming.
has never worked.
It was called swimming.
It was
I don't know.
enjoyable, though, I have to say.
It was
and I
fun,
used to
yeah, but
build
you
up,
didn't. You
yes.
certainly didn't like tell people you did it or take pictures. You just kind of
No.
did it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But you got to admire people that do that. I just
do you?
couldn't
No,
do
you
it.
no,
No,
you
I've
don't.
got to
Not necessarily.
Jane and I are not admiring people who do that.
No.
We've decided that we're not going. So, Jane, whenever you were a young lass, there wasn't so much emphasis on being perfect, and this is something that you've touched on. Why do we have to be perfect now?
I don't know. I mean, when I was growing up, I was very lucky because I had the kind of parents who made me feel I was pretty perfect,
Oh.
even though then I had red hair. And red hair is controversial, as we
Yeah.
know. That's a topic for another day. I think that it's partly to do with this... it's a feminist thing, actually. The pressure to be good at work, to be good at home, and to be good when you're having fun. I kind of blame Cosmo magazine. Now, this may seem very strange.
Yes.
Because when they came out, it's almost a Protestant thing, actually, dare I say it,
Yeah.
that you have to work hard in every area of your life. You have to, in order to succeed, and you have to succeed, not just, you have to succeed in the bedroom, You have to succeed in the workplace. You have to succeed in the kitchen. Why? And I still think, I don't know if we'll agree with this, I still think the pressure is much more on women than on men to do
there is,
this.
100%.
I mean, on Christmas Day, my husband said, he'd bought the turkey joint. That was fine. Well done. Well shopped in Marks and Spencer's, darling. Then he said, I'm going to cook. I thought, really?
No.
Guess who cooked?
You.
Me, Muggins.
Yeah.
Partly because I'm better.
Yeah.
And that, again, is one's fault. You have to accept that other people are going to do things, if they haven't done it as frequently, they're going to do it not so well. So that would be the sort of payoff. But just because I suppose I quite enjoyed it, what did he do? He did the parsnips and he burnt them. I made the bread sauce. I cooked the joint. I peeled the potatoes. I cooked the potatoes. And it was all great. I think that there is a perfection problem syndrome here, a perfection problem. And I think that we need to escape from it, because otherwise, how do you live your life? It means you're endlessly disappointed, I would have thought.
How very, very true.
Yeah.
Now, Denise, bringing you in here, you're the mother of 2 teenage girls.
Yes.
So
16 and 20.
So
now
you
I
must
have-
feel tremendous. Oh yes, of course. Samantha's
Yes,
not a teenager
you're the
anymore.
wee birthday,
You must feel tremendous pressure, and you must feel that pressure on you and them.
Yeah, I want to be a good role model for them, but I don't want them to be judged just on how they look. You know, I want them to be able to stand up for themselves. I want them to be assertive girls, and they're both very smart girls, so I'm very lucky. But I do worry particularly about my youngest, because TikTok has had such a massive influence on all these girls and how they should look, and you know, body shape and everything. And you know, both my girls are fit and healthy and do
they're
sport
beautiful
and
girls.
everything. But I think that's mad that they would be possibly looking at it going, I need to get work done. No, you don't. That's not fair.
That is
scary.
awful.
Yeah.
I met somebody, a guy, a middle-aged guy, and he told me about his girlfriend who was only in her maybe late 20s, and she was going to Turkey for a tummy tuck. Can you imagine? And she was beautiful, but she'd had, I would say, by my view, a bit too much work done on her face in order to retain that perfection of extreme youth forever. I mean, what's that about? Do we want to be 80 or 85 and look as if we're 25? I mean, what does it mean?
Yeah, like what's wrong with?
But it's
what's
not.
wrong
It
with
shouldn't
that?
all be about looks. It should be
Of course it
about
shouldn't.
the
No.
personality
Personality.
and charisma. And if you think about
Brain
some of the
power.
most charismatic, men like George Clooney, or
Yes,
everything, they just
yes.
grow old gracefully. But you know, if a woman was to turn up and with like Sophie Rayworth did and had to read the news one day without her makeup on, and it was front page to the papers. I mean, that's madness.
It's madness. This constant strive for
just because she
perfection.
had no makeup on.
But did you see Pamela Anderson at the weekend? She was at the awards. She looked fabulous
Did she?
without her makeup.
Really?
She has
Pamela
given
Anderson
up.
no longer wears makeup, so obviously we know her
interesting.
from Baywatch back in the 90s. She
Yeah.
stopped wearing makeup, like none, and her hair is still blonde, but I think it's maybe more grey than blonde now, and she just goes out like
She's a
completely
great
natural.
animal rights
She looks
activist.
great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She looks quite pale.
Yeah.
She looks a bit pale,
Yeah.
but she looks great.
Good
But
genes.
Yeah.
a lot of people are going, oh, you look better with your makeup on, Pamela.
beautiful.
Yes.
What about mental health? I mean, as a nurse as well, this is something
Yes.
you've seen. What about
Yes.
the mental toll this is taking on us? We're adults, of course.
Absolutely.
For our children.
And again, you mentioned TikTok is a big thing because
Yeah.
there's so much pressure, not only in kids, but yes, ladies of our age as
Yeah.
well.
We're
We've
bang
got-
into this.
We're right,
Yes.
exactly, and we're supposed to look beautiful.
Yep.
We're actually competing with our kids, I think, and sometimes, you know, just to look as young as they do. I think grow old gracefully. End of story. But again, there's too much focus on looks all the time.
Of course there is.
And it's like just being a rounded person and just doing the right things is so much more important than
Yeah.
looks, you know. But how do we go and educate
Do you know,
kids?
it is interesting. There was a cover of a magazine, I think it might have been, was it Cosmo, one of the big magazines, and they had a very attractive but very, we would say, overweight youngish model. And I remember that was being discussed by some commentators, and the man, I think it might have been Richard Madeley, I won't say who, you know, was saying that's unhealthy, that's
You're promoting an
unattractive,
unhealthy- yeah.
you know, that you're promoting an unhealthy lifestyle. I don't know. I think that we've lost sight of self-acceptance, which is important to mental health and important to overall health, isn't it, really?
Yeah. But I really do think there's an obesity crisis and that needs to be tackled straight away.
Yeah.
So that's different, you know.
Yes.
But that is a totally separate topic.
And filters as well. Now, one thing that I do really like about working for Local Women is that we put ordinary people on our covers. Of course, they're not ordinary people. They're women who run businesses. They're extraordinary. But they all say to me, oh, can you make sure you tweak that photograph? And I always go, well, we don't.
No.
We don't. I make sure that the photographers, they'll maybe clean away a few little stray hairs and stuff. But it used to be, back whenever we started, like 15 years ago, we used to Photoshop the covers quite a bit. Really? And that was the style. That was just the style of photography. You see now, very little's done. Very little's done. That's just the way they look. The photographers make sure they get the lighting right.
Yeah.
And it just looks so much better.
Lighting is everything.
Lighting is everything.
Barbara Streisand brings a lighting technician every time she's at an award ceremony.
Lighting is everything.
I'll tell you. She
has somebody with her that's looking.
She's quite right. Yeah. Lighting is everything.
Yeah. I'll tell you a couple of women whom you will have heard of, Joan and Jackie Collins.
Yes.
They wouldn't appear on the cover. This was when I was on She magazine, unless it was completely airbrushed. That wasn't Jackie, that was Joan, of course. Yeah. And so it bore not much representation to how they actually were at the time, it has to be said, and that was the whole idea, of course.
And of course, people don't really know this.
Much younger.
I used to work for celebrity magazines back in the day, and what people didn't realise is that some of the pap pictures weren't really pap pictures, they were set up. So certain celebrities who shall remain nameless made sure that their pictures were touched up, so there'd be casual beach pictures of them, strolling up the beach, those were worked to within an inch of their life before we got them, because they'd done a deal with the photographer. So people didn't know that, and they were looking at this picture of this lady, and they were thinking, isn't she perfect? No, she's not perfect.
She looked wonderful off duty.
She's just like us. She's just like us.
With 2 hours work, yes.
With 2 hours work. But anyway, girls, got some really good news here. It's divorce day. Now, as somebody who has been divorced twice, I think I am quite the expert on this. I know it is unusual, but I was divorced twice by the time I was like 42, maybe. It's not something I'm particularly proud of, but it's not something that I'm ashamed of either. 1 in 8 of married couples say that they want a divorce as they enter the new year, with today being the day that most people will go and see a solicitor. So apparently it's to do with the festive season. Jean, you touched on this earlier.
Yes,
What
I did.
is it about Christmas that puts so much strain on relationships?
I think it's what we talked about earlier. It's this perfectionism. Christmas has to be perfect. It has to be happy families. I blame Prince Albert, actually. He said Prince Andrew. I really do.
I thought you were going to say Prince Andrew there.
Not so much Victoria.
Yeah.
I mean, they created the perfect family Christmas
Yes,
with
of
the
course.
fir trees and the candles and everybody singing and everybody presumably getting on. But they had a rather larger house than most of us to escape to if things went wrong. Things will go wrong. You will overcook the parsnips, darling. You will do this, that, and the other thing. And the other day, I actually caressed my husband's ears, and he said, "Don't do that. You've got cold hands." And I thought, no, that's not a divorcing matter. But we've been spending no, it's not a divorcing matter. Unreasonable behaviour, I suppose. Yeah. But actually, we've been spending a lot of the between time together. Just the two of us. I mean, we've been going out and seeing friends and family and so on. And I think that can place a strain because, again, you feel obliged to play happy families, happy couples to a certain extent, even after decades together, which it is, very happily. So, I mean, I think that I understand why now is the moment that people should file divorce, but I think they should think again. I've been enjoying The Split. Is anybody else addicted to that on television? Very good, about a group of divorce lawyers, and Nicola Walker plays the woman.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, yes.
And she had various affairs, and so she's splitting up from, Stephen Mangan, whom we all love. I mean, hands up who's got a crush on Stephen Mangan. Yes, I think we'd all go there, basically. And the timing is wrong, because just when she's been through her affair, or maybe another affair as well, and thinks that they're getting back together maybe, he's not only met somebody, but she's become pregnant. And you think, oh, how sad, the timing was just off, but that makes good fiction, of course. Yeah. But I think that it also showed how easy it is to rush through a divorce, because the final episode, called The Split Barcelona, was set in Spain, and a couple wanted to get a divorce and clearly needed to. Their marriage did seem to be on the rocks. He'd played away one time too many or several times too many. And the Nicola Walker character rushed through and served the divorce papers almost immediately on this day. So maybe in some cases, I think divorce is an answer. I've got a friend and she has had, shall we say, a slightly dodgy marriage for quite a while. And she's now found the courage, and I think it does take courage actually, to move away. And she seems lighter. She seems younger. She doesn't need moisturiser. She's looking better. So obviously for her, it's the right decision. I'm very happy about that, you know.
Yeah.
Now, Denise, you've been married for a long time.
25 years.
What is
Congratulations.
So, actually, yes, congratulations.
Yeah, he's
what is
brilliant.
it? Please tell me your secrets.
I just think, I mean, obviously don't change. We're not the same people. He has his own things that he likes to do, and I've my own things. Well, he keeps my feet on the ground, put it that way. Honestly, it's just mutual respect, really, I think.
You make it sound easy.
Well, he is. I would probably be harder to live with. He would say than he is. Like he's great. Like he's just
Is he your best friend?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been a rock to me through a bad period as well, and professionally a couple of years back, and then with our youngest, needed a lot of surgery to walk as well at the start, and he's just amazing. Yeah, and I'm really lucky.
And do you
really
have fun together? Do you still have fun together?
Yeah.
Do you still giggle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at you. Look at her. She's all like even whenever you talk about him, your face lights up. I want that. I think I want that.
Yeah.
Just whenever you talk about your hobby, your wee face lights up, and I love it.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's nice.
Joyce, do you think it is too easy these days to walk away from relationships?
I do think it is. I really do. Now, saying that, I've been divorced before, and so I'm on my second marriage, and I'm very, very fortunate to have a wonderful husband who is.
Yeah, he is great. Yes.
He's nuts, but he's like great fun, and he's just, again, my best friend. But saying that, I do think it's very, very easy now, and like it's very easy to get married. And it's like you even look at the celebrities, like how long were they married for? Days, weeks, months?
Apparently Cher was 9 days she was married for.
Britney
So
Spears
9 days.
was famously married for 40
That's a
hours.
kind of Liz Truss marriage, isn't it, really? So to speak.
Do people take marriage seriously now?
I don't know, do
Well, I
they?
think there's a problem here. I'd ask Joyce this. I mean, the church says till death us do part. We're living a lot longer now.
True.
And we change. Should it be that we have, this was discussed earlier, every 10 years, should we
marriage
have
licence.
a marriage license kind of renewal? Would that be a good idea?
Like a
What do you
dog
think?
license, only for
A dog
marriage.
license for marriage, exactly. A husband license.
That takes all the romance away. That takes.
Well,
But marriage
yes,
is not romantic.
maybe.
Is marriage? It's not really romantic marriage, is it?
It can be.
Can it be?
Yes, it can be.
Well, what Jane was saying
I'm learning
about
so
her
much from
friends.
these ladies.
Your friend had the courage, but only now to walk away from something.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's very brave, and I have a lot of friends who are divorced
Yes.
or separated, and it's really brave.
It's
to make
horrible.
that
I mean, I have to
decision.
say,
Of
having been
course
through it twice,
is.
it is
Yeah.
horrendous, and you lose so much weight, and it's
But
horrendous.
you
It really is
but you
horrendous.
have one life, Kim.
Yeah.
But
You know,
it's
so
not
it's a
exactly,
great thing
yeah.
to do.
But try and think of those ladies that are in, abusive marriages as well. Maybe this might help them get out of those.
That is a point.
Which I think is good. I mean, we're sitting here sort of laughing about this being called Divorce Day, but I think it's great that these days people have the choice. Back even,
Yes.
20, 30 years ago, there was a taboo.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
definitely a taboo. My late sister, big sister, quite a bit older than me, she was divorced and she returned from London to Kent and rebuilt her life. But people were very snooty. I remember we had some great friends and they were one of the kind of key movers and players in our particular smallish society in Kent. And the son, the eldest son, son and heir, went out with my sister a couple of times. And I think they disapproved, actually, because she was a divorcee. That seems
A
incredible
divorcee,
now.
that's a word you
A
don't hear
divorcee,
these
you
days.
don't
You
hear
don't
it
hear
now, do you?
anybody
It's like
ever
the Edward and
described.
Mrs. Simpson, isn't it?
Isn't
No,
it
yeah.
just? I was just thinking of Mrs. Simpson. When was the last time you heard of somebody being called a divorcee?
I don't know where that
Never.
word came from. It just surfaced.
I hear it, right? Because I'm originally from the wilds of Katie, right? Okay, so Katie.
Right.
Katie.
Katie.
Exactly. And I remember whenever I got divorced, my mum said, what will the neighbours think? And
What did the neighbours think? They didn't care, probably.
They didn't care.
They didn't care.
No,
yeah.
good.
But it was
Yeah.
a big label because I was a divorcee.
I remember being really worried. I got divorced before I was 30. Like, gosh, I was in my late, because I got married early to a lovely, lovely person. We were just too young, whatever. And I remember being really embarrassed that I was getting we were splitting. And I remember my friend Scott said to me, Kim, are you worried that people are going to like ask for their wedding presents back or something? Nobody cares. Nobody cares apart from you. And I was like, I remember thinking, right, nobody cares. Okay, that's fine. But I was so concerned with what other people thought. And does anybody care? No.
No, they don't.
No. They don't care.
No.
They're concerned with their own lives and
They
their
are.
own divorces.
They largely are. And their own
Yes, to be.
divorces or their own lack of divorces, which
their-
kind of then loops us back around to what you were saying earlier on about people presenting on social media that they're in these wonderfully happy relationships,
Yeah, I know.
whereas I maybe know because I may or may not sometimes have been on those sites, dating sites, and I see their husbands on those and I think,
Oh my goodness.
Really?
well, that's really, really common. It's
shocking,
really
isn't
common.
it?
It's really common. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The married dating sites are quite a thing. I remember interviewing a woman once, actually, and she'd gone on it because she had an abusive marriage, so there's a context there. She went on it, she met somebody. He was thinking about a breakup, but in the end went back to his wife. He was a bit younger. But it was so sad because they remained friends, and she said, we go and we meet in a cafe, and we hold hands, and we stare into each other's eyes, and then he went home and she went home because they couldn't pursue it because he decided not to. And I was weeping into my tape recorder at this point, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. You thought maybe that's true love. I mean, do we believe in true love now? And is there only one person for everybody? I mean,
Relationships
there's a
are hard.
question. They are.
relationships are hard. It's not easy. I mean, it isn't easy being married. It's not easy being single. Maybe it's just not easy.
I don't think it is easy.
And it's not perfect.
And it's not perfect, and that doesn't matter.
And you know what is perfect? Lying in bed with your dog. Do you like how I just moved on?
seen my
Do you like
dog?
how I just moved on? That was just a seamless link.
My
Do you
dog
like that?
segue.
Do you like that? So, new research shows that more and more of us are tucking up in bed at night with our four-legged friends. I sleep with a French bulldog called Delilah, and she's absolutely delightful.
Why?
Denise, you are the mother of a dog called
Yes.
Eddie. Is
Eddie's
Eddie
brilliant.
allowed in your bed? in your marital bed?
Eddie's not allowed upstairs.
Wow.
Eddie is mad. Eddie's brilliant. He's a German short-haired pointer, but he is as hyper as if you'd given him 10 Red Bulls. He's also 6 stone. So can you imagine? He's 40 kilograms. No, I think a dog has to have its place elsewhere, but I don't believe in the bed. I really don't. But,
Why not? Do you
again-
think it's dirty? It is dirty.
Yeah,
It is dirty.
hygiene-wise. But then, my
is
sister
dirty.
has a wee rescue, and he's up and with her as well.
Maybe it's like a
so-
divorce thing.
I don't know. I
like
don't
to
know.
cuddle
It's
up to our dogs for
I
warmth.
just think Eddie has a lovely bed downstairs in the kitchen beside the radiator, so he can stay in that. Now he does sometimes run up the stairs and jump up on top of the bed, and then like big muddy footprints and stuff. No,
Yeah.
so
So
I would say
it's an
no.
absolute. I love that it's just a flat no. Joyce, has
Yeah.
it gone too far? I mean, these days cafes are full of dogs. There's dogs everywhere. Too much.
Absolutely. I am a complete animal lover. Says she who's got 6 hens, a rooster called, Leroy, and 2 cats.
What's your rooster called?
Leroy.
Leroy's a
Like
lovely
Leroy.
name.
I like that,
Leroy, my
yes.
rooster. So anyway, and I have 2 cats, 2 big Maine Coon cats. So I really, they're allowed in the house, but they would never be allowed up to my bed because I just think it is unhealthy, and I'm a bit of a clean
It
freak
is a
as well.
sanctuary, your bedroom. I
But
think.
yeah, it is, and there's
Yes.
cat hairs everywhere and everything.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's gone too far, definitely. Like, these are animals, they're not kids.
And I understand not having a dog in a restaurant. I do.
Controversial
controversial,
opinion.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
picking up on that, Jane. People seem to treat pets as surrogate children.
They do. I think that's fine. I mean, you get unconditional. you get unconditional love from animals.
do.
We don't have a pet actually, but I was brought up with Siamese cats.
Oh, I love Siamese
and we've had cats, in the family most of my life. And I remember once I'd come out of hospital. I'd had, something wrong with me, and I had a terrible cough, and so I was forced to sleep downstairs. And guess who the only person who cared really was? Our cat.
Your cats,
The cat
yeah.
who came and slept on the sofa where I was sleeping.
And loved you.
So as not to interrupt her. Loved me. Every time I coughed very loudly, would skip over to the other side of the room and then skip back and snuggle up and make me feel better and
nice.
wanted and cared for. It was the cat that got me
Yeah.
through, frankly.
I like that.
Yeah.
So,
No, Eddie
is
is lovely.
Eddie your son? Do you consider Eddie to be your son?
Eddie is part of our family. We write
he's not your
Christmas
son.
cards this year, and Eddie was on the Christmas card from Denise, David, Sam, Beth, and Eddie. And he is part of our families, absolutely. And it's, if a dog or a cat died, it's
Do you kiss
horrible.
him on the mouth?
I do, actually.
I kiss my dog in the mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it still just the
would never
bedroom
do
thing?
that.
Oh, look at Joyce.
Do you so you kiss Eddie on the mouth,
guess
but
we
he's not
knows.
allowed in your bed?
No.
Double
That's
standards.
interesting, yes.
I know. And then David will go, you do know what he's been doing in the field earlier with that?
You're like, I don't care. I don't care. Now,
Yeah.
Joyce, you're the manager of people, so you manage people
Yes.
in Cathedral Eye Clinic. Do you think people should be allowed time off for vets appointments and maybe bereavements of pets the same way as it would be if it was family members?
No, but whenever my last cat died, Bandit, I was totally inconsolable, right?
Were you?
So I actually took a day off. I took a day off, a planned day off. I didn't take it off as leave, or I took it off as leave, but I didn't take it off as sick. So yes, they are, like my cats are, the family, of course. Yes, I'm terribly upset if one of my animals dies, but no, I think it has gone much too far.
I think we need to keep things into
we do.
perspective.
Like,
Yeah.
if a goldfish
No,
dies, why
it's
should you have a week
strange though.
off?
I know.
My mother, now this was about
Balance
20 odd years ago, our dog died. Now my mum is a very jolly hockey sticks, robust kind of North Antrim lady, and you know, our dog died and she took a week off. She was a teacher though, so that's fine. Back then you could.
Right, yes.
Yeah, she took a week off work. She was devastated.
I know I've been to burial of cats in gardens and
you?
ceremonies, yes, and dug holes and kept them with us. Trouble is then when you move, what you do? Can you remember exactly where Tiddles is, you know?
We shouldn't laugh.
It's where Eddie's just been digging up the garden.
In the herbaceous border, you know. No, we shouldn't laugh. I mean, because they are our companions.
They are,
I
and they
think.
are our children too. I think you said something to me earlier on about pets being easier than children. I don't know if they are. Sometimes,
do you think so?
sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not.
No, with
Sometimes-
Eddie, you wouldn't know where he is.
Well, that's
Whereas,
it.
like with a
Sometimes
toddler,
Delilah would stress me out more than my son would.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
But your son's, he is perfect.
He's not perfect.
Oh, well, he is.
He's perfect to me,
Yeah.
obviously, but he's not.
He's a great boy,
But
yeah.
Delilah stresses me. I worry about Delilah sometimes more than I worry about my son.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't trust Eddie.
But you trust him enough to kiss him in the mouth.
Well, I know it's silly, isn't it? I know,
Maybe.
but he's got better. He's calmed down a little bit because apparently he's age 40 now in normal
right,
years.
okay.
Delilah's the same age as
That's
me
a-
now in dog years. We're both like in our 50s and we're the same. It's great. We're like two old ladies together and we're getting grumpier. and I kind of love that for us, that we'll grow old
Yes.
together.
But maybe there's a problem there, which is that we outlive animals on the whole, and that's sad
of
because we
course.
know that it's only for
Yeah.
a shorter period of time. So that's tough, isn't it?
It is. It's tough.
Yeah,
Well, ladies, that's us for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Jane, Denise, and Joyce.
No
this
problem.
has been the Local Woman Keeping an Eye on It podcast. Thank you very much, everybody.
Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter. Keeping an Eye on It podcast from Local Women Magazine is brought to you by Cathedral Eye Clinic, Northern Ireland's leading eye specialist.